Hey, good evening, everybody. How y'all doing? Welcome to Real Love Ministries Live. I am Desiree Hall. I'm here with my husband, Eddie Hall. You know, he never is on live with me. So I am so honored that he is here. Tonight, we have an exciting discussion that we're going to talk about tonight, discuss on tonight. It's actually a spinoff from our radio show, our Valentine's edition of love and dating in today's society. The discussion went so well, we decided to spill it over onto tonight so we can finish our discussions. We'll be asking questions. You all can ask us questions. So we're just going to have a great time. I have these young ladies here. I got Vicky P. And I got Tiara here, and they are going to expound on their thoughts and their views on love and dating. They're going to catch us up because we've been out of the game for a long time, right, honey? I don't even know if I could be able to do it again if I had to. So, Vicky P, Tiara, thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Yay!
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
How are you all doing?
Good.
Y'all see Bella in the back? Bella is the cat. Y'all see Bella in the back? Yeah, so we're just super excited on tonight, and we just want to hope that everyone had a happy Valentine's Day. All right. And so we're going to just discuss some things on tonight. We're going to kind of jump right into it. Ladies, do you all have any opening thoughts, anything that you want to address our audience with? Anything?
What is it like? I guess I'll start us off. What is it like dating in 2023? So I guess, well, it's just 2023 just started, but 2022, 2023, what is it like dating now?
Okay, we're gonna talk about that. Listen, y'all gonna have to school us a little bit because I mean, even from the radio show, I heard about Tinder. I didn't know Tinder was out there, and a whole lot of other stuff that's going on. So, and we always have this discussion with our children, and with their friends. They always like to come over to the house, and we just sit down and we chat it up about everything or what's going on with them, right? As far as dating, their views on dating. And sometimes my daughter just says stuff, and I'm like, well, who your parents are? Okay. Like, really? So, Eddie, you got something you want to say? I don't want to just be talking.
I'm just ready to get started. I'm ready for this one.
Vicky, anything you want to open up with? Any thoughts? Anything you want to say to everybody?
I guess just with Valentine's Day ending, I think a topic that came up was a lot of men feel like Valentine's Day is just for women, and so I just want to open the floor and see, do you think it's just geared towards women? Do you think in relationships you're supposed to cater to the man as well? Like, what are your point of views on Valentine's Day?
All right, we're going to talk about it. It's getting hot already. I have Chef Wet, I think Wet is on, and he's saying hello, and he says the dating game nowadays is all out of order. Everyone doesn't have their priorities straight. Thank you for chiming in, because we need some guys to chime in and help us discuss on this topic.
Come on, guys.
Okay, yes, we need the guys tonight. Yes. All right, so okay, let's go back. And Tiara, hold on to your question. Vicky, also hold on to your question. We want to talk about love for a little bit. How do you view love? What is your view or your definition of love?
I think my definition of love, when I think about love, I think about sacrifice. I think about and compromise, obviously to mirror God's love for us. But like, I don't want to sound cliche, but really when I think about love, I think about like a lot of sacrificing, right? Because you want the other person to be happy, loving this person, you're taking everything that comes with this person. So sometimes that means sacrificing your like desires, or to some degree. I'm not saying like you just give up your whole life, but like to some degree. So I think of or just being with someone is just a lot of sacrifice and compromises.
Okay, definitely. Yeah. Vicky?
I definitely agree with Tiara. As well as I mentioned, like on a radio station, I feel like it goes back to like servitude and helping. And just to found more about it, it's also just being able to be there for your partner. And even with the ups and downs, just being able to love them. Because I think people don't realize in relationships, like people change. So it's like, am I willing to still love you through your change, through your growth?
Wow.
And that's how I look at love.
Yes, yes. Okay. Eddie, you got something you would like to say?
Well, I just think, going back to what everybody say, love is an action word. And I think we just got to figure out what kind of action is going behind the word love. Is it a positive or is it a negative? And sometimes we get caught up, not in love, but we also get caught up mostly in lust that we feel is love. So I think going into learning how to love, it takes a while. It takes a process. And many a time, I don't think in 1 month, I'm totally in love with a person. I think it's a process. I think that you need to go through seasons to find out if it is love or it's lust. But many times the two L's can be very confusing, and we got to really dig into which one are we really looking at and which one are we walking in when you're talking about a relationship, especially when you first started off with it.
Okay. Okay. I don't take it as confusing, and let me just tell you why. Tiara, you're absolutely right. Sacrifice is a big part of love. And same to you, Vicky, being a service to that other individual. And I just see love as something it is an action word, but I take it as a beautiful word because it's always denying of yourself and thinking of someone else. So the sacrifice must be there, the compromise must be there. You have to be willing to serve that individual. And Vicky, you said something that's very key. People change, people grow, people evolve. People get sick. People, can I love you through that change? And the Bible speaks of love as being kind. It's not puffed up. It's always giving of the other, thinking of the other before you think of yourself. And I said, if you have love and you take these actions, regardless of if they grow, if they get sick, that love will definitely be there. Now, when we talk about lust, just like Eddie said, I think people confuse it a lot of times because lust is just temporary. Love is the total opposite. I mean, lust is the total opposite of what love is. Lust, it thinks about itself. It doesn't care how the other person feels. It doesn't care if I make you cry or hurt your feelings. I don't think before I act. It's all about me. So I think lust is totally temporary, and a lot of times we do move in lust. It does kind of start off that way because we love the visual. That's the first thing we see. If this person is nice looking, this is what I want to go for. But I think as time goes on, it progresses into something else if that's what the two people or the two individuals want and on the same page with. Yeah. So let's get to Vicky's questions about Valentine's Day. Okay, Vicky, can you repeat that question for me? Because we just left Valentine's Day. And Eddie, what do you say about Valentine's Day? Valentine's is for what? And what's the next day?
Right.
Go ahead. So tell them how you feel about the whole Valentine, what you usually say.
Well, I mean, Valentine's Day is February 14th. And I would say if you're a side chick, you get your stuff on February 13th.
Or February 15th.
Oh, no. Side chicks who you care about is February 13th. But the ones you don't really care about is February 15th, where everything is 75% off.
Oh, okay.
I was late. I was late getting your present. I wasn't really late. But,
hey, is that true?
But you're not even my second boo.
Oh my God.
So it's like 75% off, and I'll come see you then.
Oh wow. Oh, Vicky. Okay, so what was your question?
Oh, I asked if is Valentine's Day more geared towards the women, or do you think it should be equal for the men and the women to both be catered to on Valentine's Day?
It's geared towards the women.
And I would say, remember I told you Eddie thinks totally different from what I think. So we're going to have totally different views on things.
It's geared towards the women.
And I think it's equal.
No, I don't think it's equal.
It's not equal, but
it's not equal. But when you look at the commercials,
well, it should be.
When you look at commercials coming up to Valentine's Day, it's all about Pandora box. It's all about Pandora. It's all about jury. All about engagement.
All about the woman. Huh?
It's all about the woman. Flowers, all about the woman. Candy, all about the woman. It's not too many. It's not too often that a woman will send her husband or her significant other boyfriend or flowers to work.
Because y'all don't want flowers. Why would we send y'all flowers to work?
I disagree with that.
I think that might be a thought. Yeah,
I think it's a thought.
Okay. I have sent flowers before. It was some years ago, but I've sent flowers before. But and I say it's equal. I think it should be equal. If you actually love a person. Now they may not like flowers, but just because they receive them at work and everybody, it's all in the manner of how you do it and how you give it. I really do think it makes a difference. It's just like a woman receiving flowers all the time from her husband, but if he never sent it to the job, or he knows that she's going to be at a certain place and he has it sent there, it kind of put a twist on the norm, So I think it's more of the thought of the effort you took behind the whole thing. I'm not so fond of flowers myself, but I love to receive them. I love the appreciation. I love the thought. So I think that Valentine's should be equal. Like I get Eddie things for Valentine's all the time, and my children. My table still have Valentine coverings on it because I'm just a big buff about Valentine's Day and showing love. To my male son, he gets the chocolates. My girls, they get something for Valentine's Day. So and not saying that we just worship this day. If the world set aside a day for love, hey, why not celebrate it as well? That's how I see it. We have a comment. Valentine's Day is just a day to spend more money for both genders, but mainly woman. I know it's a day to show your appreciation, but you could do that any other day, which is true.
I agree with that.
It's just a day that they, like any other holiday or special event. If you follow me on Facebook, I'm saying Happy National Women's Day, and I might be just like recognizing a special woman, whatever the case may be. It's not that we just hone on to this and this is what it is and set in stone. But if it's set aside for a particular thing to honor or to recognize, I'm very big on that. But I'll do it anytime. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, so let's go to Tiara. Tiara, your question.
My question was like, what is it like dating now? I guess 2020 post, like I don't even know what century we're in, but what is it like dating now? I imagine it must be very different from when you all were dating. So what is it like now?
I think it's still the same, but I think one of the biggest problems now is social media. Social media have played a big influence in the dating game. It's getting to a point now where men are going against women and women are going against men, especially in the black culture. It's so many negative YouTube and TikToks that's on Facebook degrading men as well as men degrading women. So it's kind of hard right now because of social media. And I think people get a lot of likes because we degrade one another. And mostly to me personally, I think it's really in the black community. That is, you don't really see the Chinese, you don't really see white America doing it, but you always see on YouTube is one of our people.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Vicky?
I think it has changed from, I guess, seeing what my parents went through or my other family members, in the sense of tradition or just the overall standards that people have today. I agree with Eddie. Social media has shaped this mindset of like, oh, if he's not doing that for me, or they're not doing that for me, they must not love me, instead of taking and appreciating what that person is giving you or able to give you. And so people end up missing out on the one for them because they're basing off of what they see online. And so, yeah, I guess it's just, again, it's like online and comparison and just being like, okay, if they're getting this, I deserve this as well. But people don't understand, like, when you post online, they don't know the back work, the back end that you had to went through, about it. So it's a competition in today's world. Like, oh, my significant other does this for me. They do this, they do that. And instead of like focusing in on who they are and what you want to make it work with that person.
Absolutely. And that's why I would say I think dating, like I said, we've been out of the dating game for so many years. I want to say 25 years. This year will make 25 years that we've been married. And prior to that, we've dated for like a year and a half. Okay. So we've been off the market for just that long period of time. And just by watching, my children, talking to so many different young adults and different things, it's like, wow, this thing has really, really changed, and it is, a lot of it is because of social media. Because in our time when we dated, we used to he passed me his business card. I ain't gonna tell you what the business card said. However, he passed me his number. I did not call him, and he didn't have my number. I didn't give him my number at all. So he had to go and search for it. He saw what he wanted, and he was adamant, persistent,
Yep.
very persistent.
Yep.
And like I told him I was talking to somebody else, okay, I really didn't have no boyfriend, but I was talking to somebody.
Talking, not dating.
It's a difference.
So, however, he was very persistent. I guess it was so much old school stuff. And then he told somebody, they came and told me, and they were the one who actually gave me the card. Okay. So now switching with social media, I guess they can just slide into your DMs and your inbox and send you a message, and just, I guess I feel that they can be whoever they want to be. Although they can be whoever they want to be in front of you, it's just a difference for me. Let's see. Chef Wet says social media has changed everyone's perspective on dating. It's too much going on where everyone wants to be seen, all about judging each other. Is all a competition nowadays. Insecurities, absolutely. And I said this on the radio show about social media. Do you all remember MySpace when they first came out? So that was my first experience with social media, because I was so anti social media. People wouldn't even think that how much how much content I have and how much I post and whatnot. But I had to learn. I had to kind of shift my thoughts and my mental state on all about social media. However, MySpace was actually what it is. That was my space to be whoever and whatever I want to be. And, a lot of catfishing started going on. People post like they're in love and they're like fighting like cats and dogs. And just like you said, Vicky, so many people watch this and it's like, oh, they are just so in love. They are this and there. People post what they want you to see. How often do you see people posting them fighting, or when I'm saying in like what they really do behind closed doors?
Right.
Or you do see that sometimes on Facebook.
No, sometimes, but the majority of the time, you're seeing them all happy and hunkadory. You don't see them being abused, and there's so much abuse going on behind closed doors. It's just so much sadness a lot of times in these different relationships. So they just really post what they want you to see, and sometimes it's all a facade. Okay. And we base our relationship of what we think, of how we feel about ourselves, and how we compare. Comparing is so bad. Dealing with social media. You know how many people walk up to me? Somebody walked up to me one time and said, actually, they wanted like a meeting with me. And they said, I want your life. You don't know what we have gone through to get to the point that we're at. And I don't know if you'll be able to make it through what we've gone through, but it's all, never met me before, our first time meeting. And just because of what was what they have seen on Facebook or whatever, that was the response. I was so thrown off by that, how people judge and they just perceive different things or whatnot. It's just crazy. And I think the dating game definitely has changed because of social media. Okay, we have a question. What do you all do to keep the fire in? Well, marriage, we kind of wanted to stay away from marriage tonight. We wanted to focus more on dating and relationships. I think our phones are going off.
Amber Alert.
I think, yeah, it's an Amber Alert going on. Sorry, everyone. But just to answer the question, since we've been married a very long time, and I am like that type of person that I get very bored quickly. Okay, so I would just say do things differently. Don't stay complacent. Just think of new ways, innovative ways to keep the fire burning, to keep the other person interested or curious, and curiosity is just basically learning more about the other individual, wanting to learn more about the other individual. So my words of encouragement to a married couple that has been married for a long time and the fire has gone out or is going out: be more innovative, and don't lose your curiosity for your spouse, because every day, month by month, they change. And as they grow, as they mature, things change. Because I could tell you right now, things that I wanted back in 1998 is not the same things that I want right now. I matured from that stage. I grew up out of that stage, and there's different things that are changing. So I would just say always be curious about your spouse and think of innovative ways that will make the change, that will keep the fire burning. You have anything else?
No, that's it. You said it.
Okay, so let's continue this conversation. What do you all think about social media dating? Do you think that it's a good thing to date, use the dating sites, or are you more traditional? What's your thoughts or views on that?
Me personally, I'm not doing those dating sites, but that's because I'm like very paranoid and I just don't want nobody to try to kidnap me or something. And it's a lot of weird people out there. It's weird people everywhere. So I'm personally not gonna get on there. And I was reading the question. That's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I personally just don't want to do that. But also I was thinking like it made me think of like this app. It's like called Black People Meet. And there's this poster of the guy on Black People Meet, and he's very handsome. And then you get on Black People Meet, and nobody looks like that at all. Like I was like, nobody looks like. Hold on, nobody looks like that at all. So that's what I was thinking. It looks like that at all. So that's why I was like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all.
Okay. Vicky, what is your thoughts on social media, online dating, that type of thing?
So I definitely agree with Tiara as well. But I'm gonna be honest, I've tried online dating previously, and I just feel as it's very hard to gauge people's intent. And so like with Tinder, with Hinge, with BOK, and these different apps, it's still you putting yourself out there with hopes of, okay, like what are they, do they want the same thing as me? And so I just feel as when you meet people, when you're like out minding your business or, alignment. So if I'm in a grocery store, he's at a grocery store. Okay, we connect that way. I think that'll be better because then you'll get a firsthand look of, okay, you're not catfish. Uh-huh. You don't seem crazy right now, but we're gonna figure that out. But it's like also like that person is there physically, and I think sometimes too, some people get stuck on online dating. So now you're talking to 5, 6, 7 different people, and you begin to stem your worth from that, and then now you're not even able to get offline from online dating because of the attention and things that you're getting from online. So again, it has its pros and cons. Again, for people that may travel and they want to make new friends when they're in a new city, or just want something quick or whatever, like there's benefits and cons to it. But for me, no, I gave it up. I just couldn't. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I don't think I could do online dating because of the whole catfishing type of thing. I prefer to meet the person face to face and have a conversation, or go to a cafe, something simple, and then determine from there, hey, can we go on a next date? Now let me ask you all this. dating, right? So when do I consider us dating? Is that like, if I go on a date, does that mean that we're dating? Or if it's several dates that we're dating, do the guy or the girl determine if we're actually dating? How does that work? What do you think?
uh, there's talking then dating. So definitely, if you're going on dates with a person, y'all are obviously in the talking stage. And when you're talking to someone, that's when you have those conversations. Okay, is this exclusive? Are we open? And then I believe it's important for just commitment. So when someone is ready, they'll ask you to be their boyfriend or girlfriend. And then it'll obviously be mutual. It wouldn't be like, too rushed to, but it's like over time getting to know someone, you do figure out, okay, like, do I want to be with them? But they have to ask, or you have to have that conversation. You can't just assume, because again, you never know. Again, the person might be taking you out, going on dates with you this day, but out with someone else the next day. Or, you're giving, you're all in this, and the person is not even doing half of it because they don't know what they want to do with you. And so sometimes when you're in that talking stage, it kind of helps you like see where things are going, or see if you're wasting your time, or this is a potential person that you want to be in a relationship with.
Okay.
It looks like the people in the comments, they got a lot to say. I'm reading these comments.
Yes, I'm reading the chef. Yeah, I'm reading the chef, and we're gonna get to him
too.
Before we. Okay, so Tiara, you say, make your comment first, and then we're gonna go to the chef, because that's what I was just reading as well.
No, I was reading the last comment. I was just reading the last comment. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that was good. That was really all. I just have feedback on his questions.
Okay, so then let's go to the chef. He's saying all these dating apps have made it to the point where people don't have to put in as much effort anymore. Everyone is too focused on the hookup culture, and it gets everyone addicted. It's bad for you. As soon as we start talking to each other, then we're dating. The talking stage is non-existent. Whoever came up with that is absurd. Okay, go ahead, Tiara.
Because that's like that means that every person I went on a date, or every person I talked to, I was dating them. No, because I gotta get to know you to know that if I'm gonna date you. I feel like, to me, the talking stage is very, very important. There's this like funny thing on Instagram. They'd be like, oh, those failed talking stages really hit bad. Like they really hurt. But I really believe in like the talking stage, because I got to get to know you before you just be out there like, we dating, because you could be crazy. Or there's a lot of things you learn when you're talking to someone, like, what did you do in your past? Like, what was it like? I need to know those things before I just be like, oh yeah, I'm dating him. Yeah, no, I'm not. The talking stage is imperative to me.
Okay, yeah. Eddie?
Well, I don't have a problem with dating or courtship, whatever people want to call it, because for me, dating is just two individuals coming together, getting as much data they can to see if they're compatible or not. And I don't have a problem with people talking. It's part of communication, from dating to talking in your marriage. It's all about communication to see if you're compatible first before you can take that next step. Talking to my daughter earlier, one of her pet peeves is she hates a person who see her at an event, will not talk to her, but yet want to DM her or Instagram her a picture. Now he wants to talk when he had all the opportunities to come up and approach himself at the beginning, and then they can touch bases that way. So for me personally, I don't have a problem with dating, because you got to get to know someone, and by talking to them, you can find out if you're compatible, two, if they playing games with you. So you have to talk to someone, and you constantly have to talk no matter what, dating or marriage. It's part of life. It's talking with boyfriend, girlfriend, or dating, or whatever you want to call it, as well as in your marriage.
Yeah, I agree. Now, going back to what you said, Ebony said, do you feel that sometimes guys feel that it's easier to approach a young lady that they're interested in through social media because of maybe being rejected, that face-to-face? because I think okay.
Yeah.
We'll go into that next because the next thing is it okay for a woman to approach a guy? Because you were saying sometimes men feel, I don't want to say intimidated, but they don't want to face rejection. That face-to-face rejection is, it may be easier just to be behind the computer or my mobile device and send you a DM. And if you don't answer or if you don't respond to my inbox, then okay, I'll try again. But it just makes a difference doing it face to face. What you think?
Sometimes it does. It all depends. Because I told her today, I said one of y'all biggest problem is six girls that hang out together. I say if as a guy, and I see you at an event because she's on the college campus. So if I see you at an event and you with all six of your friend girls, it's very hard for me to come and approach because not only me are trying to approach you, I got to approach all your other five friends. One might say I'm cute, one might say I'm ugly, one might say I'm not all that. So you got all that information coming into your ear. So it's very hard for a guy to come up, especially he don't feel that he compatible to you, because we always want to try to go up another step in whoever we dating. But if I'm got an interview with all five of your girls, nah, most guys not going to approach you when you had to go through the other five just to get to you.
Baby, you gotta approach me. But and I think I would feel like Ebony. If you saw me and I want you to step to me.
If I can get you by yourself, maybe yeah. But if you hang around with your friend girls all night, most guys not going to want to go in that circle.
Okay, Chef is saying something that I believe it's 100% okay with a woman to approach you because it shows she's interested in you and makes everything easier. So, Chef, let me ask you. So, is it okay? So, say for instance, is it something with the rejection from these young ladies once you approach them, and if they're not interested, you getting rejected? Because that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. Tariq said, I wouldn't want a woman to approach me. However, put yourself in the vicinity to be caught. Thank you. Now, what did I tell you all at the radio station? So that was always my technique. Back in the day, I would never, I don't care how cute this guy is. I don't care how well dressed he is. Like Eddie, when I did hear it, okay, he's interested. He wants to bite, like basically, he's sending his number or whatnot. I did not get all antsy and then call him. No. I knew that he was at the church because we met at church, and I didn't approach him at all. And all I did was make sure I was in his vicinity. Either I went to the car, I was always acting like I was busy, but in the area where I know that he would be. And if he's really interested, I would wait for him to bite. And that's with any other situation back in those days. I'm more very traditional. I can't just walk up to a guy and say, hey, this is what it is. What's up? Or, hey, are you seeing somebody? It's just odd for me. But I'm not knocking anybody who does that or feels that it is okay. Because there's a lot of women that feel that it's okay. It's a lot of men that feels that it is okay. And just like Chef said, I've heard men say it makes it easier for it just lightens the load, because maybe they have all type of thoughts going through their head. Just like Eddie said, if she has 5 other girlfriends, they're feeding her with all kind of stuff. He too short, or he too dark, or he too light, or it's all kind of things. And then sometimes these guys hear this and it makes them feel bad. It does give off like a self-esteem type thing, to where it just kills the vibe. Majority of men would agree that it is somewhat intimidating, but you have to just get over it and keep moving forward. Yes. And you remember I shared with you, someone walked up to me and said, you know what? A female like you'll make a man intimidated. They wouldn't want to come and talk to you because you're so well put together. And I was like, a total stranger, you don't even know me, that type of thing. But I guess this is how men think. Chef is saying the same thing pretty much. Eddie is basically agreeing with that, right?
Yeah.
On that, Tariq says if she is like an old picture from a year ago, I know what time it is. Catfish, right? So it's just crazy. I'm more of that traditional type person, old school.
So let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
What is the difference if let's say three friend girls hanging around and one of the girls see this guy and she thinks she's cute. Is it okay for one of her friends to go up to the guy and say, "Hey, I think my friends say that you're cute."
Yes. I agree
Yeah,
because that's how we used to do it in school. That's how it was.
that's exactly. I was like, dang, that's how we used to
Yeah.
do that. I mean, I probably went. I don't know. I'm grown up, so I probably wouldn't send my friend over and say, "Oh, I think you're cute," but I'd send my friend over to like just like be the like break the ground, so then I can like come over.
Right, right. You did that. You gave somebody else, to proxy for you. I mean, I think people do it all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really do. I think people do it all the time. And even like look, I'm out there scouting for my children. Shoot, you know, like, hey, you're a nice looking person. Hey, I got a son or I got a daughter, I'm
Right.
like, if I'm feeling the vibe, oh yes, I'll pitch an offer quick.
Well, I had a question, and then we talked about it a little bit. Like, so if men are okay with women approaching them, what happens if you are not interested? How does the man reject the woman?
Wait,
Like, what is the way a man should go about rejecting a woman? Because you know how if a guy comes to us, we have that like, oh nah, we good, I'm good, I got it. Like, so what ways or things should men do? Say if they just putting out there, say they have someone they're interested in, or they see someone's like constantly going after them, and but they don't really know how to let them know, hey, like I don't know.
yeah, I think they just look. I'm the type of woman. Just come out and tell me.
Just say yeah.
Yeah, just be honest.
Thank you for your compliment,
Yeah,
but
I'm not
you're
saying
not my type, or
no. I wouldn't even say.
you're not my type.
You're not my
That's
type. Oh God.
But no.
see, no, because men get rejected all kinds of ways. Women feel like they get their feelings hurt when a man say you're not my type. You're just not my type. Just like a man is not your type. So if I say you're not my type, or I'm not interested, what's the difference?
I think I'm not interested.
I
Is
think I'm
better.
not interested. Yeah, I feel
Interested.
like I'm not gonna tell me. I'm not gonna tell a guy you not my type unless he just hasn't got the memo. But I'll start to like if you're not catching it, like I'm ignoring you. Then okay, then like you making me have to say it. But I'm not gonna do that because I care about people's feelings.
Yeah.
I try to give you a clue before I hit the you not my type. I try to give
Yeah.
you several clues actually.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm very considerate on feelings, and I think the whole approach of no, thank you, you're not my type. No, but I'm not interested. Or something on that lines. But I think it's good to be just straight up and honest instead of dragging the person along with you. We had another question in the chat. This is Chef again. He's asking, Eddie, I'm gonna ask you. I have a question. What are your thoughts on traditional women versus modern woman? The modern woman.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Vicky P.
All right, there, Chef.
Look, Vicky P. She was like, okay. What are your thoughts?
It's
I'm caught up.
yeah. Go ahead, Eddie.
Oh, go ahead, Vicky.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's definitely a difference in the sense of I feel as again growing up seeing traditional women were more in the role of like taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, being just that backbone for the man. And I just feel like today it's more as I'm gonna get it on my own regardless. I don't want to depend on somebody. If he's not stepping up, I'll step into that masculine like step because that's what I want to do. Or it's also more like modern day women want so much from a man, but they're not trying to do nothing. So she wants a man to provide, to pay all her bills, but they're not willing to cook, they're not willing to clean, they're not willing to give up their life to have a relationship. Whereas traditional women, I feel that's what I've seen. They were so willing to, okay, if my man if my partner has to move across the world, I'm willing to go with him because this is the person I love. This is what I do. And now it's not like that. There's no it's less submission and more competition, I would say, when it comes to dating today. Because again, it's back to money, morals, and just how you see yourself and what you see online.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Because I know you wanted to,
No,
because
no,
you
no.
have the thing with the whole submission and all of that going on. So you can go ahead and
I got a
I'm,
question.
Go
What
ahead.
is, well, before I wanted to make sure I understood, what is a traditional woman again? What is that?
it's the woman that cooks and cleans. Back then, they serve their husbands, they honor them, they're very submissive. Um, they're homemakers. They're not out in the workforce doing anything. They're just basically home with the children, and they run the whole household pretty much.
I
And like I said, they're very submissive.
I think you raised a good point. You said they're not out in the workforce. So
Hmm.
maybe that's why they can make the home. But I think, I mean, it's 2023. Rent is like in a decent neighborhood, it's like 2,200. And then if you got a mortgage, like 2,500. So obviously it takes two people, right? Like you're like, and I think they say like the average man makes what, like 45, 50,000. So really it takes two people. So I feel like to want a woman to make a whole home and go to work and help, I mean, I think that there needs to be like some compromise. And I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I think there has to be like some compromise because I mean, people get tired, right? So like if I gotta go home, work all day, come home straight from home, cook, clean, like when do I ever get time to just sit down and like just do my own work? What if I got work from work type of thing? Like that's what I was thinking.
Hmm. Yeah. So, with my thoughts on that is, now I told you I'm very traditional. I may not be the best cook or the best clean. Eddie does that. So once it goes into all the role play and all of that, I think it's whoever does it best, and whoever, as far as that. But when it comes to I'm big on the respect of the man. Respecting him as the man, regardless if he makes more than I, less than I, because he steps into the role of being a man and my husband, he's going to get mad respect. I just think it's a certain way that a woman addresses and handles a man, with no disrespect. And I don't mind submitting either. So now, as far as the modern woman, they're very independent. They have like this whole boss chick term. I'm bossing it up, and they could be very independent to where you can really tear down a man. Or the diva, the whole diva word. They could be kind of mean. And it's just the whole independency to say, like you said, Vicky, I could do it on my own. I got this. I that No, we need each other. We actually need each other. And everybody needs somebody. You can't do it on your own. And it's kind of hard being very independent, and doing things on your own. You have to learn how to put up walls. I honor single moms, because you can really see that in them a lot of times, because they have lived so long being that one person, providing and doing this and doing that, and I commend them. However, it's hard to break when you have someone else that wants to come in and wants to help you and wants to. So it's hard to let go of that reign. So I'm just really big on the whole respect of each other. And I don't want to put like traditional versus modern, but I feel that sometimes the modern woman needs to break it down a little bit, and think about more of compromising and serving and loving.
I like what you said a lot. I think whoever does what best should do it. And then there's obviously you should have respect for your husband or your man as your man. If you trust that person to lead you, then yeah. But I really think whoever does what best around the house, you should just stay in your lane and do whatever that is. That's best.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, my husband basically does everything. He is the Mr. Mom. He's He don't cook nothing, but he cleans very well. He wash the clothes. He makes sure the children are straight, and he has always been that person. And I always regard him up the utmost, with appreciation and love, and making sure that he is aware that I am all into him and I appreciate everything that he does, and not taking it for granted. So you have to, because he's not saying that he's obligated to do it. In a sense, yes, because we made a commitment to each other, but realize that he doesn't have to do this for you. He doesn't have to serve you, or he doesn't have to do the things that he does for you in a kind manner. Even things that I don't think of, he's already thinking and has it done. The simple things of when I get in my car and the gas is full, I don't have to stop at the gas station. It's just those little simple things that I'm making sure that I appreciate that from him, because I know there's so many others that don't get it. And it's just vital because of the things he does, and because of today's society. They may make him feel like, oh, that ain't no man's job. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing X, Y, and Z. And we both work. We both are out in the workforce, and we're doing our own thing. So I just commend him on that. I think both of those worlds should come together and see how we can make this all work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Another thing that came to mind when you were talking was I noticed that you were just explaining what like Eddie does. So do you also like, could you say based on what the man does for you, it makes it easier to be traditional? It makes it easier to be able to take a
Absolutely.
step back and let him step into the role. Because then I think a lot of days now you have men in my generation, I feel like I'm a man, I'm doing this. But when you really look at their life, it's like, you can't really do nothing for me, or I can't even entrust you to, fill in that spot and provide for me, but you want me to submit to you. But
Yeah.
you're not even like doing what you need to do as a man.
Exactly. But this is where we come to like that potential, or where you're getting engaged with who you're getting engaged in or spending time with. Once you start seeing signs, remember we talked about seeing these signs. We have the power to stop that. Once you start seeing these signs, hey, you can break that deal right then and there. This is not what I want, and don't prolong it. Although a person may have potential, maybe they don't have the mentality to move forward.
Mm.
Or I think it's like, do you even want to mess around? And because so many people waste so many years with potential.
Waste time.
So you
Exactly.
want to sit here and
Absolutely.
waste your time with potential, because this is the way I look at it. Like, obviously you need each other and people and like stuff like that. But if you like 25 or whatever, you done had like a good 4 or 5 years to start activating that potential, right? Now, if you're activating them, if you're like, but it's not potential, then if you're like trying and you're open to like, like we can help each other, then sure. But like, just like potential just doesn't move. Like that's potential just
Right.
doesn't do it for me.
I mean, potential has the potential to move, but if the individual don't have the mentality to move forward or to be better, then that's where the deal breaker is. Like, no, we've been together such and such time, and I keep seeing the same pattern.
Right.
Don't get so emotional attached till you drag yourself, because as long as you give that individual the access to drag you, they will drag you. And as long as you give them the access to like you're providing, you're doing different things, they're going to get accustomed to that, and they're going to expect that. So I believe the persons, whoever is involved, have the power to stop that, to say, hey, this can't continue. We can't go no further. Now, for the man that has the potential and is trying, never block the try. He had the potential. He has the potential. But one thing that I saw in him, and I always thanked him for it, even when I was saying that I was going to leave and I wanted a divorce, he kept trying. He kept trying. And even I remember when we went to counseling, and I had to remove the bitterness, I had to remove the frustration out of my heart to actually see it. Okay. Because when we went to the counseling, the guy is listening to Eddie and he's listening to me, and he said, Desiree, I understand, you're right. He had to pull me to the side and tell me, because he said, if this man is trying, you're so angry, you won't be able to see it. And I was like, wow. And that's exactly what I was doing. And I would see him try to just impress me or to do different things. And it was, I was just so upset. So I think it's pretty much kind of letting go at a sense and recognizing the try instead of keep putting them down. If they're going to work every day and they're coming home and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and you're just at them, then you gotta really check yourself. But potential do have the potential to move. However, it has to be some type of movement, some type of try, some type of plan in place that I'm going to become a better person, not only for us, but for me as an individual.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I agree. I think that.
yeah, because I think, and I spoke on, let's see, I just was checking the chat to see if we had some more comments, but I told you I go to these single conferences and stuff all the time, and the whole focus is on the hookup, is on who I can meet, who I can, who I can bring home, who number I can get. But you have to be prepared for this mentally, prepared. Am I ready to take on another person? Am I ready to invite someone into my world? Do I know who I am? Do I have my own identity that I can stand on? That type of thing. Because it's a whole thing to be in a relationship. People talk about it all the time. Am I ready to sacrifice? Am I ready to compromise some things? Am I ready to grow up? It's for big girls, big boys, or women, men. This is a women, men type of thing. It's not no joke, because it could get very, very serious. So, I don't knock the potential type thing, but just make sure that we are moving and we're going somewhere, and every individual know who they are. Vicky, I think you had another question. No, you forgot. Okay, so Michael, let's go to the chat. So Michael Magwood said, "Powerful support really goes a long way," and it does. We need each other. We need each other. I don't care how rich you are, how wealthy you are, and you feel that you can do this whole thing by yourself. No, everybody needs somebody. So
And
support is major.
I know we talk a lot about the man and the man having potential, but I think sometimes we as women like got to check ourselves. Like, what are we bringing to the table, or do we just have some potential, right? Like, because the same lens that you are examining someone else with, you need to examine yourself, right? So
Absolutely.
if I can't, can I, and do I have ability to make it, like, to do anything for myself, right? Because it's not fair to rely on someone else and make them do all these things or want them to do all these things for me, right? But can I do it for myself, right? Like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then if someone comes along, it's a helpmate, right? They help you, but you have to know, like, I could do this. I can do some of this like myself. I feel like that's just like a bit much to put all that on someone else. So like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
and
like,
it's just the expectations of the other person. You expect them to do X, Y, and Z, but what are you doing?
Right.
You want to say something, honey? I just feel like I'm doing all the talking. I ain't letting him talk.
No, it's good. For me personally, I don't go with tradition at all. For the men who are listening, I was raised in a two-parent household, so I did have a father and a mother living in a household. I do what I do for my wife because I choose to do it. There's no titles here. Um, I pick up towels, I mop, I sweep, I wash clothes, I go to the grocery store. I mostly go buy all the stuff we need for the house. I love doing that. That relieves her. Sometimes I have more time than her because she's doing everything else with social media and whatever else that she's doing. So she don't really have time. I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I always put in the point where I'm a waiter and she's a waitress, and we are serving one another. And the biggest benefit is the tips that we get as we see ourselves grow in our marriage. It started off rough at the beginning, but our latter days are greater. We enjoy each other. We don't have a problem with servicing, or pleasing one another as well, because we don't spend that time together. We don't learn each other, and we know what works for us. And it's not hard. It's just learning how to communicate. Without communication in the beginning, when you're meeting someone and you're going to that next level of dating, to the next level of engagement and to marriage, without communication, and going back to the dating part, you have to ask these questions while you're in the dating process. How do you feel about the gender roles? How do you feel about tradition? You have to ask these things. You just can't go into the relationship assuming that he's going to be that kind of husband, or he's going to be, or she's going to be that kind of wife. You have to ask these questions. And I think many times we get caught up in the looks till we don't get caught, that we don't understand the individual. So that's why I say that when you're in the process of dating or courtship, you have to date in seasons. I need to see you at your best, and I need to see you at your worst, and see how do you handle conflict. And if they are a person who goes crazy, go out of control, I think you need to move on, because two out of control people going to mess up a household.
Ooh, they gonna tear
it up.
They gonna tear down something.
I think you have to date people in season. I need to see your best, and I need to see your worst, and see when you at your worst, are we still able to communicate? Are we still able to go forward? Are we able to forgive and to move on? And I think that's very important. But I don't have tradition. And I told my youngest daughter, who's 20 years old, I told her, you are a modern woman with traditional background. She is a go-getter. She's about her business. She cooks, she cleans. So you for me personally, I think the man who found her gonna find a great thing, because she does it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree. And like I said before earlier, with all of that, just don't get so tied in emotionally with the fact that I'm dating or I have a man, and you lose who you are. And you start seeing these warning signs to tell you to stop, to tell you that, hey, this dude is crazy or this girl is crazy. Don't feel that you can ever change that individual. You don't have the power to. Only God has the power to change the individual. But how you carry yourself out, how your characteristics and how you just take care of yourself and how you respond can inspire someone to change, to be that better person. Yeah. Just don't get caught up in the fact of me having a man or a boyfriend or a significant other, or whatever the case may be. Okay. We have some comments. Vanessa, hey, Bestie, said most independent women have found the value in interdependency. And that's correct. Absolutely. Chef says, how you feel about the man playing the feminine role and the woman playing the masculine, Eddie? How long do you all think it would last? No, I think go. He said, Eddie. Go ahead, Eddie.
We're gonna tag team this together. No problem. Go ahead.
Because I think he will. Go ahead. I think this guy want to hear from you, right?
No, go ahead. Just do your part right quick.
Listen, I think every man want that feminine woman. They don't want no masculine woman trying to control everything, telling them what to do, how to do it in a very aggressive, masculine, strong way. That just kills me. I don't. Yeah.
For me, I think a passive man is very dangerous, especially when you're in a relationship, because a woman can overtake you when you're passive and you're not aggressive, but be aggressive and kindly. For me personally, I don't think a man gotta say that I am a man. Because many times I found out a lot of men say, well, the Bible says that the man is the head. I'm the man. I don't have to play them roles because I know who I am. And I think that she know who I am as well. I don't have to say it because I show it. Come on. And I get to the point where sometimes I could be alpha, I could be beta. I know everybody want to be alpha male. I'm not an alpha male. I'm alpha when I have to protect my family and protect my wife. But beta is when I can be able to, hey, take a break. I got this. Do what you do. Let me do what I do. If I enjoy mopping the floor, I enjoy keeping my house nice. That's not her strength. But you know what? Do what you do. Let me do what I do. What I do. But when it's time for somebody to try to come in his household or have a problem with my family or do something to my kids, I can learn how to be alpha and learn how to be beta.
I'm listen, y'all. Eddie is saying all this stuff, right? Which is true. But God really had to deal with him on his self control, though. You know, back in the day, listen, I thought this man was going to going to jail.
Not with us. Not with us.
Look, it's long story, but we're not going to even go into that. But other things, you know, because of the temper, because of all of that. So he's very alpha. However, he had to learn how to balance that all out, you know. Tariq, personally, I think certain things we have deemed as gender roles should actually be considered life skills. Absolutely. Cleaning, cooking are life skills, not gender roles. Right. So traditionally, it has been considered gender roles, and then it goes back and forth. People argue that back and forth, like this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing this. You're not supposed to be working. The guy's supposed to be doing. Who said this? Who made these roles?
Well, I can remember we was at a wedding, and the pastor was doing a sermon for the bride and the groom. He turned around and looked at the groom and told the groom, "Listen here, put down that title and pick up that towel. Because some days she's not going to be wanting to clean. Some days she ain't going to want to cook. So sometimes you got to change the roles and let somebody rest." And I don't think a problem. I think society has put a big thing on the gender roles.
Yes, I totally agree.
With the finances and women making more money, women got more education than men. So what we have done, we have made it was go to me again, men going against women, women going against men. And money is not everything, because you can be rich and I'm like Kevin Samuel, you can be rich and die alone. So sometimes you got to learn how to come together. Who makes the most money? Longer we learn how to work together. And one thing I found out about a lot of marriages, what we don't have competition.
Right.
We don't compete against one another. And I think when you start to get into a relationship where y'all compete about who make the most money, who do what, and who do less, I think then you really have a problem.
Right. So the whole thing is just not tearing down the individual. We should come together as a support to build each other up. And that's another thing that I'm really big on is building other people, building us even as a couple, and whether we're together, you know, and as long as everybody is on the same page and it's one person is not being exhausted.
But I think one of the biggest problems to me for society has placed so much pressure on a man that we forget the man is also part of the marriage. When you talk about wedding and stuff like that, it's always geared towards the woman. But for me personally, it took that man to say, "Will you marry me?" So what we have done, we have left the man out and just say that it's your day to the woman. No, it's both of their days. That's number one.
Right.
The second thing is that society has done with marriage for me personally is a happy wife is a happy life. I disagree with that totally. For me personally, a happy spouse is a happy house. Because what happened is that wife can be happy and that man can be miserable.
Right.
You have a house, but you don't have a home.
Wow. Okay. Preach, Eddie.
That was like a mic drop.
Yeah.
Nothing else after that.
Okay. All right. And
Did they freeze for you?
few more, and I can't believe that it's 9:05. I agree with your response. Okay, Chef. Thank you so much for interacting with us on tonight, Tariq, Chef, because we wanted the male perspective to be a part of this. Micah, thank you so much. We thank everybody for joining. We're going to have to do another part to this. We have so much that we can talk about. The vulnerability, you know, how are you all holding yourself? You know, we want to talk about the sex life, all of that good stuff, because it's just so much entangled or involved in the whole dating life in today's society. It's just it really is crazy, and society has placed a big stamina on how people view dating, relationship, and love. But I'm here tonight with my wonderful husband, It has not been easy. I will say that. At the beginning, we struggled a whole lot. We experienced a whole lot together. I was only 21 years old when I married him, and very, very green. Although I had a child, I was still very, very
I'm
green.
gonna say this before we go, before we leave, because we talking about love. I had to get to a point one day. I had to look at her for the minutes. I had to look at my wife and ask my wife to teach me how to love you, because what we see on TV or what we hear from other people is not what they want. So sometimes you got to get to a point and ask your spouse to teach them how to love you. Your even husband asks your wife, and wife asks your husband, or even for me, even in a dating price, what is your love language? What it is that I can do to show you that I love you? And I think it's go far beyond buying nice things and going out to dinner and just spending time
Yeah,
together. It goes way
yeah,
beyond that, because you can go to the movie so many times, you can buy gifts so many times, but you got to get to another level of love. And I think that what you
absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, and like I said, exactly what he said, and I was just speechless when he said it because of his past experience a lot of times. So it's very good to get into who you're dating, who you're committing yourself to, because like I said, I was only 21. He was showing me a good time. We were having a great time, and I didn't consider anything that was going to happen bad within the marriage. I thought we were going to have a great marriage. We're going to build this home. We're going to work together, all that good stuff. And it just didn't happen that way. So, what we're sharing with you all tonight is basically a lot of what we have experienced as a couple and growing together. And like I said, I was 21, he was 26, but I'm his second wife. He has been married before. So it's a lot of things that he experienced as well, and he got married young, and a whole lot of things happened. So it was through experience that we're here and we're sharing these different things with you all, and just insight. You all are teaching us a whole lot, because you're actually in that dating stage, and in today's society of dating. So we can feed off of you all as well, but just kick back some wisdom and some knowledge of what we have experienced throughout the years, so you all could be solid individuals. My thing is knowing who you are, and just going into that stage of building and having healthy relationships. But we had to learn, just like he said, and some certain things that I thought he should have known or thought he knew because of his past experience of being married before, in a relationship with a child and all of that, he really didn't know. And a lot of times people don't know. They just grow up. We just grow up. We just grow up, and nothing is fixed. So this stuff still is within us, and no help was rendered or anything of that sort. So it just took a lot of development. It took a lot of development. So I just encourage you all, don't give up out there on a dating scene. Pray and ask God for guidance, and be aware of all the warning signs, all the signs that you see. If a person is being inconsistent, if they're if they tell a lot of lies, if pay attention to that. Don't make excuses for it, because these are the signs that we need to look for, that will definitely affect your future later on if you continue in the track that you're going in. All right. But I thank you all so much once again. Lord Jesus, it's 9:10. We almost went an hour and 15 minutes, but I believe that this was a great discussion. I would love for you all to comment and let us know how you like it. We're going to do this. I don't know. We're going to come back. We'll let you all know when we're coming back on. But I thank you, Tiara. I thank you, Vicky P. You all have been totally great. I'm going to post pictures real soon, probably tonight or early tomorrow, of us in the radio station, our discussion and everything of that sort. So stay tuned for the next Real Love Ministries live on love dating in today's society. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.